Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to the Maryland Maverick. My name is Colin McEvers. I have a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about a Maryland Congresswoman's response to the Venezuela situation, the arrest of Maduro. This lady named April Delaney, who is the Congresswoman for the 6th District of Maryland, which is the western part. It includes Garrett, Allegheny, Washington, and parts of Frederick and Montgomery counties. There's a large percentage of Republicans over there because most people that are in these western counties are right-wing. So it's a very red area in the western part of Maryland. It's very rural, very conservative, very red. But because Democrats have gerrymandered parts of Montgomery and the blue parts of Frederick into that district, unfortunately, we have a Democratic far-left woman who is serving a former Biden appointee, April Delaney, and she has given us a very embarrassing and just stupid and silly story for today. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. Before I do, I'll give you just a little side note, just a footnote. I've seen a lot of people, not a lot actually, because actually this is a very popular thing that's happened. The Trump administration's arrest of Maduro, who is a criminal, who is someone who's been importing drugs, tons and tons of drugs into this country, someone who's very anti-American, does not work with us, and just someone who has totally destroyed the economy of Venezuela, which has led to the mass fleeing of millions of Venezuelans, many of whom have come into our country. So we've had to deal with the problems and the catastrophe of Maduro's leadership. So again, this is a very popular initiative that's been undertaken by the Trump administration. No American casualties, very quick, very effective, very ruthless operation. And now we have Maduro and his family, who are criminals, U.S. criminals. But I have seen a couple people who have criticized the Trump administration. They always do, particularly Democrats and liberals. But there was a conservative who always criticizes the Trump administration, whether it be for supporting people like Nick Shirley, who was able to uncover and unveil the massive fraud that was going on in Minnesota that has led to the political downfall of Tim Walz, who's one of the worst governors of Minnesota in the history of the state. In 2020, he just absolutely allowed all those BLM rioters and looters and criminals to destroy parts of Minnesota, to destroy Minneapolis, to burn down buildings, to loot, to kill white people, to kill other black people, to kill Americans, to burglarize, to destroy, to just create awful carnage. He was one of the main Democratic governors and leaders who allowed that to happen. And then he went on and he said, well, this is because of white privilege. This is because of white privilege. We need to think about the systemic problems that have affected these people. Terrible governor, terrible person, and he also allowed Somalians to totally take over Minneapolis and parts of Minnesota and to defraud the government. And so thank God he's leaving. He's a terrible person. He's an awful, awful leader. And he also changed the state flag of Minnesota to like a Somalian flag, like a knockoff of the Somalian flag. Just terrible. Doesn't have any respect for the history and the heritage of Minnesota. But that's besides the point. I had one of my people, my vice chair for the Maryland College Republicans, reach out to someone who I've talked about on the show, who I have demeaned. We've attacked each other many times in the past. We've insulted each other. We have had our differences in the past month, just online, virtually. I've never met the guy in person. Frankly, I've never had the interest of doing so. He is someone who's not necessarily relevant in this current political atmosphere, but he's someone who's fun to kind of poke fun at and to make fun of and to use in these kind of scenarios for the entertainment value, because he's very easy to make jokes about, and he's virtually completely hated by most Republicans in the state of Maryland just because of his extreme inefficiencies and his total lack of conservative values, as it seems on the outset. His name is Brian Griffiths. And it's funny because I had my vice chair reach out to him and say, hey, if you'd like to come on the Maryland Maverick and have a debate or have a conversation about the current Republican Party as it stands, why, maybe talk about why you are a true conservative and why other Republicans are not, Colin McEvers would love to have you on the show to discuss it and talk about it, maybe have a little debate, a little disagreement, because there have been some online things. Most of it has been short clips and, clip farming and things of that sort. And his response is truly golden. His response was, I'll take a pass on that. Thank you, but I'll take a pass on that. And it truly does show the cowardice and the unwillingness of people who claim to be fighters for conservative values or fighters for the country and democracy and blah, blah, blah. Ones who are just perpetually criticizing the Trump administration and the current Republican Party. Their lack of courage, their lack of true understanding of the truth, and their ability, their lack of ability to defend themselves, to defend their arguments. And it's truly pathetic. And I just wanted to include that as a side note as we begin to talk about this response from April Delaney regarding the Venezuela situation. So her statement, and this is a article from the Baltimore Sun, and it covers the situation. It's titled, "Maryland Lawmaker Calls for Trump's Impeachment in Wake of Venezuela Operation." By the way, she branded herself in 2024 as a moderate because she wanted to win over some conservative Democrat and independent voters in the 6th Congressional District. It's one of the only districts in Maryland which is purple. Although it's more blue, it can swing red. A Republican congressman has come within the margin of victory in the past. And so although a Republican congressman is not served or won in that area for a while, it is possible because of the numbers, and there are some close margins every now and then. But she has taken a turn, and she has stated in this article, "I cannot stand by as my Republican colleagues allow President Trump to defy the rule of law, repeatedly overstep the authority of Congress, and undermine our national security and the well-being of my fellow Americans." McLean Delaney, a Democrat, said in a statement Monday to the Baltimore Sun, calling for Trump's impeachment. Now, the first thing on the outset, this is the most obvious response to something so idiotic and ludicrous as this, is that this was an operation that did not require congressional approval. It was simply a arrest and detention of a criminal, a U.S. criminal who's been indicted in U.S. court, in the U.S. court of law, the detention of a criminal who was in another country, bringing him back to the United States, and very simple as that. Someone who has intentionally infected our communities and our towns with narcotics, with fentanyl, with cocaine, with hard drugs. There's total legal authority and legal basis to do this for a administration, for the White House, for the executive branch to go in with the military and detain a U.S. criminal. He does not even have head of state immunity because he was illegitimately in power. He was voted out of office in 2018, but he did not leave. He stole the election, basically. He stole the presidency, and his opponent was tossed aside and was not allowed to come. So he's very anti-democratic. He's a authoritarian ruler. So he has no legitimacy, and he's simply a criminal. Him and his family were detained by the U.S. government, and thank God for that. And of course, there's some strategic interests as well. Venezuela has a lot of oil, and we want that oil, and we want that strategic advantage, of course. But in regards to the legal basis for it, the United States has the absolute authority. The United States president and executive power and administration has the absolute authority to do that. So the idea that a impeachment would even happen, would even work out, there's just no basis for that. It's just totally ludicrous. It's totally idiotic. And the second thing is that the Congress of the United States is controlled by Republicans. So this would not even work out. That even the prospect of of impeaching Donald J. Trump with a Republican majority that supports him is just not even something in the realm of possibility. It's not even something in the realm of thought. It's a totally idiotic decision made by McClain, and the only reason why I think that she would do something like this is because she is going to be facing a pretty tough primary challenge in this upcoming election in 2026. The former congressman of District 6, David Trone, he left that seat because he wanted to become a senator for Maryland. And he was totally embarrassed and humiliated. He was defeated after investing like $60 million into his primary campaign by Angela Alsobrooks because he was an old white man who accidentally said a slur publicly. And so that destroyed his chances of becoming senator. He was not able to get a pass on that because he's a white man. And of course, a old white man that's straight saying something bad is just totally, that will not survive in the Democratic Party. Democrats already hate white men and masculinity, and anything that's considered at all racist is just not going to work. And so he's not going to really have much support from the Democratic Party in Maryland. Wes Moore and all the other Democrats will be behind Delaney, but he has millions and millions of dollars because he is the CEO, he is the owner of one of the largest alcohol distributors in the entire country, Total Wine & More. And so he's going to be investing a lot of money into this race, and he's also going to be branding himself as a leftist, as a far leftist, as a liberal, just so he can win the Democratic nomination. That's what he's going to try to do. And so Delaney is now trying to find things to do in order to prepare for that and things to have on her record for when she runs for the Democratic nomination. She wants to beat David Trone. And so I do believe that this is a big part of that. I don't think it's principled. I think it's just political, but it's a politically not strategic, very stupid decision because even a lot of Democrats don't support the idea of an impeachment. Of course, they know that it wouldn't happen. It's totally not possible. It wouldn't be able to, work. But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that she's doing it on principle and she's doing it for political reasons. I mean, it's just stupid because, there's just no way it's going to happen. And a lot of people, not only domestically in the country, but also internationally, support what the United States did. It's a very popular operation. Get rid of an autocrat, Maduro, who is also a criminal, prosecuted by the U.S. government, someone who has totally destroyed the economy and the Venezuelan country as a whole, which is kind of emblematic of why millions and millions of people have been fleeing Venezuela. Venezuelans are so happy. They're rejoicing at the fact that Maduro is gone. And, American citizens, we're going to benefit. We have Venezuela now. We have control over it. We are instating the Monroe Doctrine. We do have power. We do have control over the Western Hemisphere, over the countries in Southern America. We have that power as the United States, and we ought to have that. So I just really think that this whole ordeal is just embarrassing, and it just needs to be used by whoever wins the nomination for the Republican, in the Republican nomination for the congressional race in District 6. And I know that there's some people running, there's some people that are working very hard to win that, but they're just going to be fighting each other, and Delaney is clearly not running as a moderate anymore. She's going far left, she's going liberal, and that just needs to be used against her in this upcoming race. It really does need to be used against her. And things like this, very bad, poor decisions like this, which are just totally stupid and idiotic, they need to be exploited to the maximum potential by whoever wins the Republican nomination. Whoever's going to go up against her on the right, we need to use these things and crush her. We need to destroy her. We need to win that seat, or we need to at least try very hard to do so. It might be difficult because we're going up to 2026. It's going to be a tough year, but these decisions, they're just totally idiotic. And I just don't even know what she's thinking, honestly. I mean, I don't know who advised her on this. I don't know who told her it would be a good idea. Maybe she's just, I really don't understand. I don't know. I mean, she frankly, it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense at all, because many people on the left and the right will probably tell you that this was not a violation of the Constitution. A lot of Democrats are trying to make it seem like that, but anyone with a brain, anyone with common sense knows that this was totally in the realm of legality. This was totally legal. This was totally constitutional. The president and the executive power has the absolute authority to detain criminals and to exert power over certain areas when it is in our best interest to do so and when it is in the interest of the American people. So this is another L, a giant loss, a giant L on the behalf of a Maryland legislator. It's very unfortunate, very embarrassing. My heart goes out to all the residents of District 6, all the Western Marylanders who were rural and conservative and right-wing, who would have to deal with this idiot, stupid woman, Delaney, being your congresswoman. It's very unfortunate. It's very sad to see. I'm just hoping that she is replaced as soon as possible, that she is defeated. With the current state of things, that might seem like a hard ask, like a hard possibility, but we need to have hope and we need to have faith in rationality and logic. And this is just illogical. It's irrational. It's frankly erratic, if I were to put words on it. So thank you all for watching this episode. I do appreciate it, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.